S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Superhero Vegeta was released on the 18th of June as an over-the-counter regular release and retails for 3,850 yen or 35 US dollars. Vegeta is the third release in Tamashi's wave of Dragon Ball Super superhero figures based on the new movie, which, by the way, was fantastic and so much fun. I'm sure you've all seen streamed versions of it by now, but for those who are waiting for the cinematic release, I am very excited for you to see it. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. As per usual, I picked up Vegeta at my local retailer here in Japan, but for those who pre-ordered through places like AmiAmi or Hobby Genki, Vegeta should be shipping out very soon, if not. So Vegeta is basically a retool of the Dragon Ball Super Broly Super Saiyan God Vegeta release a couple of years back with a newly sculpted torso and new deco for the faceplates that reflect the more animated design of the movie art style. The head sculpts themselves are exactly the same, which I think works really well for a powered down base form Vegeta. The spikes are a little bit more controlled and they aren't as flared out as the Super Saiyan Vegeta 2.0. Again, just to reiterate, the heads are the same shape and sculpt, the same sculpted facial expressions, but the face printing this time definitely stands out a lot more. They've really gone heavy on the line work around the eyes and the mouth to further accentuate, I guess, that more cartoony animated art style of the movie. Everything else is a reuse from that Super Saiyan God mold, which was a retool from the original Super Saiyan Vegeta 2.0 body. Using the bigger arms as opposed to the slimmer arms or slimmer shoulders on the 2.0 Scouter Vegeta, the legs and even the rounded feet on the Super Saiyan God Vegeta are all back to give us a release that I think is pretty faithful to the movie art. Vegeta's shirt is a little baggier this time as how it's seen in the animation, not as tight or muscle defined as the Majin Vegeta torso, and the blue used for this costume is a very dark, I guess, grayish blue, which I think works really well. Even the actual shirt is a slightly different shade of blue to the pants that Vegeta wears, and I think this is accurate to the actual animation model. The skin tones are a little lighter like the Goku release, but close enough to the other Vegeta releases that head swaps are definitely possible without looking off. And yes, this Vegeta does share the same size ball peg as the rest of the other figures, so you can definitely mix and match your Vegeta heads if you're not feeling this particular look. I like the newly sculpted torso. All the creases and fold lines definitely make it more visually interesting for what essentially is a pretty simple look for Vegeta. The shirt itself is a little shiny for my liking. I think they could have dulled it down just a little, something I might have to do with a bit of matte spray, but whilst there isn't any shading with this release, the sculpted details in Vegeta's shirt and the muscular definition in the legs do cast some shadows, giving the illusion of shading. Okay, so let's take a look at Vegeta's articulation, and he is very similar to the other 2.0 Vegetas. The only difference is the torso, but even then, it's, you know, your standard S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball articulation setup. So let's start off with the head. So Vegeta, because he has that independent neck piece there as well, he does look up that much, and he can bury his head into his chest quite a bit as well. You get some really good tilt, and you get your side-to-side rotation there. Butterfly joints, and you can get Vegeta there to bring his arms into his chest, about that much, which is good for those blast poses. He does have almost 90 degrees there at the shoulder, and you do get 360 there as well. Standard bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and of course hinges and swivel at the wrist. So for Vegeta's torso, there is a ball joint in there, so he can, you know, get that bit of movement there all the way around. Ab crunches about this much, though I'm suspecting his torso might be very similar to Goku's torso, where, and I'm sure you guys have seen this, there's like a mod that you can do in the torso where you kind of cut off this tab of plastic and it gives Goku a lot better range going forward. But, you know, I might crack Vegeta open and see what's going on in there, and if it's the same, hey, more articulation, the better. So Vegeta bends back about that much. It's not great, but again, you know, you get your side to side, you get a bit of swivel there, but most of the swivel is going to be at the waist. So Vegeta does have the 2.0 leg setup, side splits, front and back, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and probably, in my opinion, the worst part of this figure is those horrid double ball peg ankle joints, which for this figure it actually sticks out a little bit more than the other Vegeta figures, making him a little bit taller, which I am not a fan of, but it doesn't get much movement, as you can see. Going up, going down, you've got your toe articulation there, but ankle pivot, my goodness, look at that. It's horrible. I'm really glad that they're updating this with the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. And if we get another Vegeta, another Saiyan Armor Vegeta, a 3.0 Saiyan Armor Vegeta, I hope, really hope that Tamashii give us the updated ankle tilt, because really not a fan of this old, outdated bit of articulation. But other than that, it's pretty standard stuff. You can still get, you know, Vegeta to, you know, pose in some pretty dynamic poses, but it's just those ankles that I'm not a fan of. So I think at this stage, I don't need to tell you that all of these superhero releases are pretty light when it comes to accessories, considering the price. With Vegeta, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. It gets the job done, though I'd be lying to myself if I didn't wish that it came with just a bit more, especially some crossed arm accessories, which I think every Vegeta release should come with. Still, we get all the hands, 2 fists, 2 Vegeta pose fighting hands, 2 open palm blast hands, 2 final flash hands, and a right thumbs up hand. So for heads, we get 4 in total, and I think the stern face and the shouting face plates are definitely the best. There's just something about the smirk and teeth gritting face plates that I think look a little off to me. I don't think the printing is misaligned. In fact, I think it's the crispest, cleanest printing I've seen yet. It's just that the printing doesn't match the size or shape of the faces. It's really hard to see if you can see anything at all on camera, but once you have it in hand, you can see that the eyebrows or the sculpt of the eyebrows are smaller than the actual size of the printing, if that makes any sense. I think what they've done here is that Tamashii have increased the size of the eyes just a little bit, you know, to get that animated look, and in doing so, it kind of throws off the overall look of the face. And I feel it's only with the smirk and the teeth gritting face. Head swaps, baby, because I know a ton of you want to see head swaps, so we're going to be first swapping out all of these heads onto the new body, and then we're going to be swapping the new head onto the bodies that these heads came from. And for the purpose of this bit of the video, I'm going to be using blue tack, because trying to get heads onto pegs on camera is almost impossible, almost always impossible. I've tried like 7 times now, and it just didn't go smoothly. So I'm going to be using blue tack just to, you know, get things going smoothly. So the first head we're going to be swapping out is the base form head from 2.0 Scouter Vegeta. And I think that looks really good. Always a fan of that 2.0 head. I hope they update it though, but still works really well. So the next head is the actual Scouter attached to the base form head. And yeah, if you ever want, I think this would work really well with that evil Ginyu Goku head where he's got the Scouter. That would be awesome. Huh. Might have to take a photo of that. So there's that. And then next we have the Demoniacal Fit third-party head, the eating head. And that looks pretty good too. I like that. It works. It's very anime-esque, a lot of expression, and it works with this body. So next we're going to go Super Saiyan, standard Super Saiyan 2.0. And this looks beautiful. I love that. Look at that. Works really well. One of my favorite looks from Vegeta. His blue costume and Super Saiyan form. And we've also got Margin Vegeta. And this works pretty well as well. Let's just get that on there. The waist isn't as tiny as the original Margin Vegeta. And then we have my phone going off. Sorry, guys. But this works pretty good as well. I like this. It's very manga accurate, I guess. First time Vegeta goes Super Saiyan God. Yeah, I like this a lot. This works really well. And then we have, of course, Super Saiyan Blue. And again, it's the same head sculpt, just different, I guess, deco. And that looks really good as well. So this body is actually really nice. I really like it. I mean, if you don't like the rounded boots, you can always swap them out because I'm sure the pegs, the ball joints are the same as the pointed shoe Vegetas. There we go. All right, so new head on the old bodies. So let's have a look at the first one. This is your Super Saiyan 2.0 body. And it works, I think. Vegeta in his Saiyan armor. I really hope Tamashii gives us an updated Saiyan armor Vegeta because this one is really expensive now on the aftermarket. And whilst I do really enjoy this body, it needs an update. I like it though. Looks pretty good. Again, you know, the face deco really gives that kind of animated, cartoony look. You know, which I don't hate. It works, and it definitely gives us a new style from the other Vegetas that we've gotten in the past. So I dig it. There we go. All right, the next one is going to be the Super Saiyan God Vegeta from the Broly movie, and we didn't. My biggest complaint for that figure was that we didn't get a base head. So here we go. We get a base head for that body, and this works better, I think, because you know we've got those rounded shoes, we've got the darker undersuit. I don't really like that. I think this works really well with the newer Vegeta head. Very nice. Next up, we have the Saiyan Saga 2.0 Scouter Vegeta, which is probably one of the best Vegetas. Actually, pretty much all the Vegetas are really good figures, I think. But this one gives you a lot of accessories. You get 2 base heads, which is great. Look at that. That looks good. And I would really like to see an updated version of this one as well. I always felt like the legs, especially the legs and the arms, are a little bit too muscular. When you first see Vegeta in the Saiyan Saga, he's not as ripped, and it has a lot to do, obviously, with the artist who drew him at the time, but he had, I guess, the suit looked a bit baggier. It was a little bit, you know, less skin tight, but this works. I like it. And last but not least, we have the Margin Vegeta body. And, that looks okay, I guess. I think the body and especially the veins on the arms is more suited to the actual Majin Vegeta head, or even the base form head from the 2.0 Scouter. But yeah, it looks alright. I think my favorite would probably be the Scouter 2.0 body, but this works as well. So there we have it, guys, just to give you an idea of what the new head looks on the older bodies and what the older heads look on the newer body. Overall, I'm quite satisfied with this figure, though I do think it's the weakest out of the 3 figures we've gotten so far. Piccolo was fantastic, and whilst technically Vegeta does use more new parts in its retool, I really do love the faces Goku came with. All 4 of those faces, for me personally, really knocked it out of the park in terms of movie accuracy. I really enjoy this look for Vegeta. The darker blues are beautiful. The new torso gives a now slightly dated body a bit of a facelift. Overall, it's different enough, and again, like Goku, could be used as your blue shirt, Buu Saga Vegeta, but it's just something about the faces, the deco, that don't work as well as Goku did, and I think it has a lot to do with using an existing head sculpt and just printing over it with a new design, whereas Goku's faces were all newly sculpted. The printing matched the sculpt work, and it just worked better. Don't get me wrong, both the stern face and the shouting face are great, and I can definitely see where they were going with this one in terms of recreating that specific movie look. But 2 out of 4 faces, coupled with that horrible ankle articulation, which I didn't expect them to update in this release anyway, it was just close, but not quite there for me. So I hope Tamashii in the near future gives us an updated Vegeta body, new hands, new legs, new ankles, and I guess it'll probably happen after we get Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. Fingers crossed. In saying all that, this is still a great release, and despite being the weakest out of the 3 so far, it's the one I actually recommend the most. Vegetas are kind of a rare breed in the Figuarts Dragon Ball line. Most of the time they're web exclusives, and with Scouter Vegeta 2.0, which now commands a hefty price tag, being the only other base form Vegeta we have, I think this is a great chance for any collector, especially if you're new to the line, to grab a very decent Vegeta release at a great retail price. Again, it works as a superhero Vegeta, of course, but you can definitely fudge it and add him to your Buu Saga display as well. That and the fact that you can pretty much head swap any other Vegeta head onto this body, I think makes for a worthwhile purchase for your collection. Anyway, that's it for this review. I still have my Demoniacal Fit Royal Blood Super Saiyan 3 Vegeta review in the works, but it's coming. I also want to get my hands on the older 1.0 Vegetas as well to kind of, do an appreciation review on those older figures. I think some of those 1.0s still hold up really well, especially in terms of paintwork. I've gotten a lot of comments about upping my volume in terms of content, so I think that might be a good idea to revisit some of those older figures or figures that I missed out on. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in. Take good care of yourselves out there, and as always, yoroshiku!